What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of NBA to the Galaxy Pod featuring my man Slim Shady. Yeah, we got to update the name today, Slim Shady. I see it on
Yeah,
the screen there. You can find my man Slim here at RTR30111 on X. Myself, you can find me at Scotty Drowned. We are here to discuss more NBA action in the offseason. We're going to break down some of our teams, obviously the Sixers, the Warriors, some of their latest moves. And then, of course, get into a lot of the rumors surrounding the Warriors in a certain package for a certain All-Star
yeah.
down in Utah. We'll get into that. We're going to talk about a lot of the remaining free agents that are out there. Where do they fit? Do they have a place in the NBA at this point in some of their careers? So just kind of an open space here today. We're going to have some fun with it. And then from here on out, I think it's going to get really interesting after this episode as well, because we'll get into some of our player rankings this summer before we go into next year. And I think we'll have a few differences. I think we'll see things different, but it'll make things fun. But my man, how are you doing today? It's Monday. I hope you're feeling good here on this fine Monday, brother.
Yes, sir. Feeling great, man. Can't complain. We back at it again. It's been a minute, but hey, I mean, your Sixers went out there and got PG, so congratulations on that. And yeah, man. I mean, obviously seeing Clay leave was kind of tough, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, man, glad to be here back at it again. So, yep.
No, I definitely feel that. So the first thing I want to jump into here, Slim, is I want to talk about that package that was mentioned in a rumor earlier. I saw you commenting on it on X, and you weren't feeling it. But if you want to lay out the package, if you remember specifically what it was, let us know what the Jazz were asking the Warriors for in return for Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah. So initially, if I'm not mistaken, we offered them Moody and like three draft picks or something like that, some along the lines of that. But then, Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz, they renegotiated it and well, counter offered it rather, and they wanted Pods, Moody, Kaminga, as well as multiple draft picks as well. Me personally, I'm not a fan of that. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, you can argue that out of the three young guys, out of Pods, Kaminga, Moody, you can throw two of them in a deal. Okay, that's fine. And then in the mix of that, you can throw like draft picks in it to, sweeten the deal up. I'll be on board for that for sure. But to get rid of all three of those guys for Laura, man, I don't know, man. I
because
don't
you're not
know
going to have
about
any
that, man.
depth.
Yeah, we're not, but like obviously Laura, he's special. He would fit this team. Like he literally like gives us everything that we're
Him
missing
and
right now.
Steph would
Like
be crazy. Yeah.
yeah, him and Steph would be nice. Like they would fit off each other so well. But like you mentioned, like we're giving up. I just feel like we're giving up kind of a lot. But then again, I wouldn't necessarily just be too mad if we were to pull the trigger and just say, "Hey, let's get this done." Because we do, we made some good signings. We got Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield, and Dead
Yeah.
Milne. Still got GP2, Looney. So it ain't like we would just necessarily be hurt from a depth standpoint. It's just like the youth. I feel like nowadays we should still like have those young guys around, man. These guys are getting older. So
Yeah.
yeah,
If you
that's my thoughts on it.
there's a balance that comes with it, right? Because there's part of you that's like, man, you got Steph, you got Draymond for this X amount of years
Yeah.
left. So you got to like maximize those years while you have those guys still on the roster. But then
Right.
you also have to think about what comes after them as well, right? Like because they are
Mhm.
in the upper 30s. You never know when the tide's going to change for them, so you do got to kind of prepare for the future. So it is like, do you want to put all of your eggs in one basket with Lauri Markkanen? You mentioned some of the signings. I wanted to ask you about those guys because I know we texted about it a little bit, but I wanted to ask you which one of those guys that you mentioned is your favorite signing of the offseason for the Warriors? Like, who do you think is going to help and make the biggest impact in the rotation?
Honestly, I say all of them, but if I had to like just pick one,
Yeah,
I'd probably go Buddy. I mean, for us to lose a guy like Clay, I mean, come on now, we got one of the
yeah,
best shooters in the league, and Buddy Hill, like we shouldn't like just overlook that. Like,
yeah,
the percentages, like everything, he is a high volume 3-point shooter, and we desperately needed a guy like that since Clay left. So for us getting him, to be more exact with the price that we got him for, I actually
yeah.
love it. So Yeah, I love the addition of Buddy Hill the most out of everybody else. But like I said, I love D-Mel and Kyle Anderson. Like I feel like that'd be great for our team too.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you because Buddy Hield, out of those three, I think that would be my favorite signing as well. I was excited as hell when the Sixers got him at the trade deadline. It
Right.
looked really great at first, then it kind of died out. It was a mix of everything, injuries, different things going on, where he couldn't get consistent minutes. And it just didn't work out. Ultimately, Sixers made some moves this offseason where they didn't feel they needed to bring Buddy Hield back. But Buddy Hield, he's just one of those shooters. He's a prolific three-point shooter that any team in the NBA is going to be able to use and find a spot for him. And
Right.
I think you guys will be able to do some creative things, given the experience with Steph, with Klay Thompson. You have a coaching staff that's experienced with like getting shooters open, right? Getting them open
Right.
shots around the 3-point line. So I think he'll fit in pretty well there with the way you guys play. And maybe do you think he starts? Like who do you think's gonna be the starting lineup for y'all?
Yeah, honestly, man, I feel like currently projected, currently the way the roster constructed, he definitely can make a case to
Good,
start. I
right?
mean, yeah, between him, Daddy and Melanie Pods, it's honestly a toss up. But I would love to have a shooter like that next to Steph in the starting lineup, though, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting. I always forget about Pods because it's like, where does he fit in with the plan? Is he like a six-man scoring punch off the bench, or is he that consistent starter? And maybe he
yeah.
can even do a little. I don't know. Can he do? Do you believe he can do a little bit more than Buddy Hield? Maybe not as prolific as a three-point
Um,
shooter, but maybe
yeah.
in other areas of the game.
Yeah, for sure. I say he like a better. He has the potential to be like a better overall, like all around type of player for sure.
Yeah,
Like Paz is a phenomenal rebounder to be a guard, and his playmaking abilities has definitely like progressed throughout the season. So yeah, I could definitely like see him, you know,
yeah.
being like yeah,
Because it's interesting. You got three decent options there, honestly, between Pods,
yeah, we
D-Melt,
do.
and Buddy. And D-Melt's
Yeah,
the other guy. Obviously, I have experience with him as well. I'm excited for you in that sense because all he really needed to do is just get healthy.
yeah,
And
get
once he
healthy.
gets
Yeah,
consistent minutes, he's going to be a good piece. He can do a little bit of everything. He can shoot, play make. He's very good defensively. Gets in passing lanes. So I think once again he will fit in as well. Kyle Anderson, you talked to me a little bit about him through text. You know how I looked at it. It's from my experience with the Sixers, though. That's why I feel that way about Kyle Anderson and the broken jump shot, that ugly jump
yeah,
shot. I had to
yeah.
watch Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle for quite a few years on the Philadelphia 76ers, two guys that didn't like to shoot, and when they did shoot, it wasn't very pretty.
Right.
So I think I just have like bad history with non-shooters or guys that don't have the prettiest jump shot. But what are your thoughts on Kyle Anderson and the addition of him, man?
I actually made a post on my X page because a lot of guys was like overreacting at the fact that we acquired him, but the way I looked at it is like, I mean, hey, he's a 6'9". He's a versatile guy.
Yeah,
He's like a glue. He's like also like a glue guy. He pretty much does everything.
yeah,
He can defend 1 through 4, arguably some fives as well. And yeah, I think he'll just fit in with the way we like to play. He can like when Draymond out off the floor, I feel like he can step in and provide the
fill
same
that
thing.
role.
Yeah, similar things. Yeah, fill that role. But I love the addition of slow mo, man. And obviously, like his jump shot, is very questionable. But other than that, I love the addition, man. Like, yeah,
Yeah. And you guys aren't gonna ask him to shoot too much, right? Like that's
yeah, for
that's the
sure.
big
Yeah,
difference. Like
right.
I think with Minnesota, it got exposed a little bit. He was getting big minutes, he was doing quality things outside of scoring. But
Yeah,
I think why it stuck out like a sore thumb in Minnesota is just because they didn't have that many scorers slash shooters on that roster. It was really Anthony Edwards,
right.
Cat, right? And then from there, it's just random each night on who was going to show up for you. So sometimes I feel like they were asking too much of Kyle Anderson in a sense there.
Yeah, somebody
So
else said that too, man. Yeah,
I do think it could work out for you guys, especially when you have the prototypical model of Draymond Green in the starting lineup that he can just follow suit and kind of do similar things as him
facts,
once he comes in.
facts, man.
No, so I'm excited for you, man. Who knows? Maybe you do put together a package. Maybe it's not Laurie Markkinen. Maybe it's somebody else around the league. I think it just really shows that the Warriors are being active.
Yeah,
They've
we
gone
are.
after Paul George. They've tried to retain Klay Thompson. Now Lauri Markkanen. They're trying to make something happen.
Yeah, I feel like
Put them back in
yeah,
contention.
we got a lot of guys on our team like GP2 and Looney. It's kind of like where do they fit in, you know?
Yeah.
With the additions of Kyle Anderson, D-Mel, and Buddy, it's like it's not enough minutes to go around. So I think that we do make some type of trade before the season starts for sure because we have the pieces and draft capital to go out there and get it done.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, and we'll see,
Philadelphia.
man. I feel like the off season isn't even close to being over right now,
Got like 80
with the
million, man.
possibilities of what can happen. You got all the Olympics and stuff, the USA team right now, which I think is gonna hold up things just a little bit in a sense, but
Right.
we'll see how it goes. But yeah, you mentioned it, Philadelphia. They made some
Philadelphia.
moves. You texted me either yesterday or today about Daryl Morey and what he's been doing this off season, and
Been
I've been
cooking, man.
glazing him up.
He been cooking. He been cooking. He been cooking. You got to give him his props. He been cooking.
Absolutely. I got to give him his props. I'm going to ask you from the outside perspective because obviously I'm on the Faithful Fanatic on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays in the
Yeah.
morning. We're Philly fans. We obviously think we had a hell of a offseason so far.
Mm-hmm.
But from the outside perspective, where do you put like the Sixers? Like, could they have had the best offseason so far of any team in the NBA, in your opinion? Or is there another team that may stick out to you there?
Like from the standpoint of like overall, like from the draft and the signings, or just
The
like
draft, free agency. So far, what's happened? Just so far.
okay. Yeah, I would say between y'all and the Knicks, maybe y'all got like the leverage
Knicks is
over
fair.
them. Maybe y'all have more leverage over them in the sense of getting PG, to get him and McCain as well. I love those additions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could give y'all like a slight ledge over the Knicks. But yeah, man, I love the moves that y'all have done, man. Y'all got PG. I seen y'all brought back Kyle Lowry. That's huge
Yeah.
from a veteran standpoint. Bringing that leadership. He could take McCain under his wing or whatnot. And also, I seen y'all sign KJ Martin to a 2-year deal as well. So
yeah,
yeah,
Caleb Martin.
Yeah, Caleb Martin, which brings me to say with Caleb, like I don't know how true it is. Like, did he really like turn down like more money from the Heat to come sign with you guys, or?
That is what the report was. It doesn't make sense to me a whole lot. I mean, unless
Yeah.
he declined that offer at first at the beginning of free agency or before free agency started, maybe. And then maybe once he declined, Miami just said, screw it, we're not gonna make another offer. I'm not sure if that's what happened, but it was apparently 4 years in the 60 million range.
64. Yeah, 64.
Yeah, so it was definitely a big bump from what he got from the Sixers, which I think it was like 4 for
32.
32, 36. Yeah, it's in the 30s, 32. So what, 8 million a year. So yeah, it was a little bit of a downgrade from a contract offer standpoint,
Yeah, for
but
sure, man.
he did talk about, wanting to play with Kyle Lowry, wanted to play for a winning culture. That's what threw me off as well. I won't lie to you. I'm a Sixers fan. I love the Sixers, but the Heat have a winning culture too, if not a better culture, at least coming out of last season or going into last season. So I don't know. It was interesting how that played out. I don't understand why he would take less money, but maybe it was the fact that he'll get a starting position here with the Sixers. Maybe that was part of it as well. But I'm excited. That was like my second favorite move this offseason, I believe, just because it kind of surprised me after the Paul George signing. I didn't know if we would have the money to like go out, get Caleb Martin, and then also be able to retain guys like Kelly Oubre and bring him back. So it has been a hell of an offseason. I would say obviously the best move was PG. He's the all-star that you want to bring in. But Caleb Martin was that second guy there that I think is going to make a huge difference. Just from it's kind of the intangibles, like the personality, the leadership, the willing to do whatever. He's a dog.
Yeah,
right?
He basically just does the little things, He a junkyard dog for sure. So
Yeah,
Yeah, but
exactly.
I think maybe like you brought up like the winning culture or whatever. I think it probably was something else going on behind the scenes. We never know. I mean, just
Yeah.
from the like outside looking in, like maybe there was some tension or something between him and the Miami Heat. You never know. But I mean, for him to say that is very interesting though for sure. But speaking of contracts, like with KJ Martin, man, I seen a lot of your Sixers fans out there. Like they said it was like a balloon contract. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that's interesting as well, man,
Your
because
fellow Sixer fans.
he got, I believe, 8 million a year, a 2-year deal.
Yeah,
Um,
2 years.
which obviously for a guy that didn't play much last year is a little bit of money. It's a little bit of change for him. But as you mentioned, it's being called a balloon deal because they wanted to put salary into a guy they had the bird rights to. In case they can get a trade later on down the line. So maybe it's, once the season starts, guys like DFS, Dorial Finney-Smith, those guys, you're going to have to make the cap space to kind of
Yeah,
make
right.
that work, right? So that was the idea. Give him an inflated contract that you'll be able to exchange with another team, maybe get a better player, maybe add some picks on to KJ Martin, get a better player to fill that void or that cap space that KJ Martin's taken up. So that was the idea behind it. I also do like KJ Martin. Like,
Yeah, I
obviously
do
that's a
too.
little
Yeah.
bit of an overpay or a balloon deal, like everybody's saying, but I do like what he brings to the 76ers, especially from a forward spot where this isn't a team. They have a bunch of wings. They don't have a ton of like power forward-esque type of players where I
Hmm.
feel KJ Martin can be more of that role, just
Right.
rebounding, defense, finishing at the rim, that type of stuff.
Yeah, he's
Um,
athletic as hell though.
he's athletic.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
may be our best dunker if I'm being honest here, because he's athletic, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Paul George is too old. He's a little older now.
Yeah,
He
he's
had
old
some
now.
dunks last year, some crazy ones. He yammed on some people, but yeah, I think pure bounce, like catching an
Yeah,
oop.
KJ for sure, man.
KJ, and then this new kid, Adem Bona. I don't know if
Oh
you've like
yeah,
seen any
yeah.
highlights from him.
I seen it for his clips. Yeah.
That man jumps out the gym too. I like
Yeah.
that kid as well, man.
But with KJ though, like it's I think
He
we
has
played you
dumb bounce
guys.
though,
I think he got dumb bounce. We played you guys last season and he got a crazy blocking Kaminga, man, like just
and Kaminga
straight up
is athletic as
verticality.
hell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like not too many guys in the league can like jump with Kaminga like that. And for KJ to do that, like I was like, sheesh.
No, no doubt. And that's where I do think KJ can fit in if he does get more opportunity this season.
Yeah.
In that role, just kind of like you said, going after the glass, defensively impacting the game, blocking shots, rebounding. I think he brings a different element than any of the other players on the team have. So I do find it interesting. The Kyle Lowry thing's interesting to me as well. Love that they brought him back. I think he's another guy, kind of like Caleb Martin, like you said earlier, just willing to do the little things, willing to fulfill a specific role. What I'm really hoping with signing Kyle Lowry back to the Sixers is that they don't overextend him in a sense, right? Like 25, 30 plus minutes a night. He doesn't need to
Yeah.
see that
Nah,
at this
yeah,
point in
this
his career.
nah.
Like he should be
Yeah.
limited to maybe
About
15
15,
minutes a
yeah,
night.
15. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Because the other side of that, you mentioned Jared McCain earlier, who I also love as well, man. I think he's another guy. There's so many guys I feel like could get in the rotation. It's going to be a competitive scene there for rotational minutes. Because you got Eric Gordon there as well, right? He's another
Oh yeah, I
guard,
forgot
another
about him.
prolific
Yeah,
3-point shooter.
I
So
forgot about him.
Jared McCain's going to be fighting for minutes, but I feel like Kyle Lowry is the perfect player for McCain to learn from. Just given like McCain's, he's a little undersized for a guard or for a combo guard, as we would call him right now. So I think Kyle Lowry can kind of help him maybe build that other side of his game, the playmaking, and just the defensive side of things as well. So I love it for Jared McCain. I just don't want Nick Nurse to like forget about Jared McCain and then all of a sudden at the end of the season, well,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
should have played this guy earlier. He's really good. He could be good for us, but he hasn't figured it out yet. Give him time to figure it out early in the season. That way, by the postseason, he's given us some significant minutes and
Yeah, for
some
sure. I mean,
consistency off the bench.
him going down to the G League should be beneficial towards him as well. Like even if
Yeah,
he's
I
not getting
agree.
like minutes during the season, like send him down to the G League. Yeah, he'll
Yeah,
benefit from
let
it
him
for sure.
cook, build the
Yeah,
confidence. Yeah, I do agree with you. Ultimately, you mentioned some of the guys that we let go, D Melt, Buddy Hield. Like I said, those are quality guys. I think in another world, we would bring them back if certain things didn't fall our way with like a Caleb Martin, Eric Gordon, different guys like that. Because Eric Gordon, I believe, took a vet minimum as well.
yeah, he did.
Um, so it was interesting. Paul Reed got waived. Shout out to B-Ball Paul, man. I
Yeah,
got respect for B-Ball Paul. He always tried hard. Isn't the best power forward slash big, whatever you want to call him, but he does
yeah.
try hard. He plays hard. So
He reunited with his guys, so you know.
yeah, Detroit's cooking up something special
Yeah,
up
they
there. They
kicking
got
up over there.
got the new Slim Shady album. You got you brought in Tobias Harris. You
Malik
bring in Paul
Beasley,
Reed. They're cooking
yeah,
up, bro.
Kyrie, yeah. They got something nice over there, man.
No. So this brings me to the point of the show here where we talk about the best remaining free agents that are actually available out there. And I do want to start with a specific guy, and it's Gary Trent Jr. because he's a guy that's been rumored to several different contenders, and I think he's a guy that could fit a lot of different teams.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
the specific contenders that have been mentioned. Now, mind you, the sources, I don't know, like Bucket Access, I don't know who that is, but they say that Gary Trent Jr. has already signed with the Sixers. I don't believe that necessarily. I do believe that there's probably some interest from the Sixers.
Yeah,
But there was rumors about Denver, the New York Knicks, as well as some of the suitors for
yeah.
Gary Trent
The
Jr.
Milwaukee Bucks as well too.
How crazy would it be for Gary Trent Jr. to take like a veteran minimum? Like, is that not ridiculous?
It is in a sense, but then again, it's not because like the market kind of like dictates like your pay. Like
Yeah,
if you go back to like last, I would say this is literally like the perfect example. Like Christian Wood and Kelly Oubre,
yeah,
they
yep,
got signed like what late August, mid August, and they end up
yeah.
signing for
It was
minimum. So
very, very late. Yeah,
yeah, they end up signing for minimum. So this may be like a similar situation where it's to Gary, like he trying to get, a payday, but there isn't many teams out there. To be more exact, there aren't many contending teams out there with like
yeah.
the money to give you besides minimum. So you got teams like Utah, they got some cap space out there. But do you really want to go to Utah? So
Detroit still has a
yeah,
little bit of
Detroit,
cap
yeah.
space.
Yeah. So
Go up there and build your value in
yeah.
Detroit. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. And that's where it brings you to the point. Like, it probably would be best for him to take a veteran minimum or something like that. I'm sure there's some teams out there that maybe have like some mid-level exceptions, something like that, that they could give him. It might be better for him to go that route just to build his value, kind of like Kelly Oubre did last season,
Yeah.
where he got a multi-year deal this offseason. He could have gotten a lot more money if he left, right? So he definitely built his value back up. Gary Trent Jr. is just an interesting guy to me because he does everything that you really want to see in the modern day, which is shoot the basketball, defend, and play hard. I do think the obvious fits are Denver and then Phil. Like if he signed with Philly, he would be my starting shooting guard over any of the other guys that we have brought in so far. So like if we were to get
Interesting.
Gary Trent Jr., it would be Maxey, Gary Trent Jr., Paul George, Caleb Martin, and Joel Embiid.
Mm.
And then I'm bringing Kelly Oubre off the bench as that six-man scoring punch, kind of like what he was doing early on last year, where he
Yeah.
was having really, really good success. But Denver as well. Like I heard Denver doesn't have significant interest in him, but to replace Contavious
Yeah.
Caldwell-Pope, I feel
Yeah.
like that is like a really good fit there
Yeah,
in
for
Denver.
sure. Because I mean, you can't like obviously I feel like Christian Brown he's going to take a leap, but you can't just
Yeah,
rely on him heavily to make that major leap to be
yeah,
able to defend, the opposing team's best player night in and night out. So I feel like you can take a chance on Gary Trent. I don't see why not.
yeah. I
But then
think that's
again,
like
like they only can offer minimum contract, so
yeah.
yeah. So
That's the thing. Like maybe I don't know what the Spurs are working with right now. Like maybe he could go to the Spurs
yeah,
and figure something out there. Um, Sacramento was another team I thought about. Maybe he could go out to and get some minutes out there. You still got Malik Monk. You got De'Aaron Fox. There is a little bit of a
Kevin
jumble there,
Herter.
but they
So
got rid of Kevin Horter, right?
no, he's still on the team. They got rid of Harrison Barnes.
Harrison Barnes. Okay, so they got rid of him. It's an option. It's just something different I was trying to think of. What could help the Sacramento Kings maybe get a little bit better this off season? What would you well, I guess the Warriors, they don't really need them. You guys got plenty of
Yeah, we got plenty of
guards right
guards,
now.
bro. We don't need
Yeah,
no
you
more
got
guards,
guards for
man. We got
days.
too many, man. Like we got too many.
Yeah, that's like one of those things where you probably will end up trading someone, maybe
Yeah,
some
for sure.
picks for something better, maybe a
Yeah,
legitimate starter. What about Tyus Jones? What do you think about him and his market? Like, where does he
man.
fit in your eyes?
I mean, he pretty much can fit anywhere. I mean, this is a
Right?
guy
He's a
that,
prototypical point guard.
yeah,
Like,
like he doesn't turn the ball over. He makes the right passes. He's been more aggressive offensively as of late. So I mean, I feel like a lot of teams could definitely use a guy like that. But then again, it's like I think Washington maybe can offer him the most, but it's like then again, do you want to go back to
that
Washington?
was
You know that
right. Yeah.
they're not like a contending team at the moment. They're like in rebuild mode, so maybe he wants to contend for a title or whatever. But is he willing to take that sacrifice and take a
Right.
minimum? So
Right. And
it's a
it's
lot.
not, we're talking about it so nonchalantly, but it's not easy to like just suck it up
It's not.
and
It's
take
really
the
not,
vet
man.
minimum. Like,
It's
it's
not,
not.
bro. It's
When
not.
so many people out there are getting paid big money. What is up, Master at B-Ball? What's good? Thank you for checking
Was
in.
good.
If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you are, thank you. Thank you for checking in. We appreciate
Yes,
you.
sir.
We got to get the Twitter back up and running. Get the chat a little bit more
Yeah,
live
yeah.
in here. Get the viewers back in here. The Twitter thing messed me up this morning on the morning show, bro,
Yeah,
because
man, you told me about it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow.
I got on and it's giving me the red exclamation mark, like it can't connect. Then we even upgraded the account today. It still is not even letting me here on this show, but
To
we'll
premium.
get it. Yeah, it's a premium. We'll get it ironed out though. It is
Yeah,
a
that's
nice setup. It is worth it. So we'll have to talk about that as well. Getting our to the Galaxy Pod X space set up with the premium as well, because it is worth it. You can get ad revenue. You can get paid for your tweets, different things like that. Your
okay.
live
Okay. Okay.
streams.
Okay.
So
Bet
it
that.
is
Bet
worth
that.
it in the end. I get it. But
Bet that.
the thing with Tyus Jones, you mentioned it. He can fit with anybody. I was thinking like the Orlando Magic. I don't know like if they can like pull that off somehow, if they could trade something for him. I don't know how it would work out, but the Orlando Magic seems like a nice spot. He's got some Duke connections down there that he could work with Paulo, Wendell Carter.
Mm-hmm.
So it is interesting. Like they could use a prototypical point guard. I know they brought in Kentavious Caldwell Pope to play that 2 guard position. But you start to look at like what a lineup could be: a Tyus Jones, Kentavious Caldwell Pope, Franz Wagner, Paulo Banchero, and Wendell Carter Jr. starting for the Orlando Magic. That sounds all right. That sounds pretty solid, right? If Paulo can take another
Yeah.
jump this
Yeah,
season, Franz can take
that's a
another jump.
playoff team. Yeah, that's a
Right?
playoff team for sure.
It
Yeah.
sounds like it. It
Yeah,
sounds like
it's a
a really
playoff
good
team.
fitting team. Um, the Miami Heat was another team that came to mind. I don't know, once again, how they would be able to make that work financially if he would have to take like a vet minimum to make that happen. But
Mm-hmm.
who do you think's more valuable out of those 2 players, Gary Trent Jr. and Tyus Jones? Like, who would you rather have on like your team?
Man, I would probably go with Tyus, man. Like he just
Does a
doesn't turn
little
the
bit more.
ball over, bro. Like
Yeah.
yeah, his assist to turnover ratio the past, I don't know, 6+ years has been
Yeah.
beyond elite, man. So guys like that always ultimately help you win games. So I would definitely prefer a guy like him over Gary Trent, not to like knock him or nothing, but
No, I feel you.
yeah, I
I
prefer a
do.
guy like Tyus. But another guy too, man. Like, what's up
Yeah.
with Isaac Okoro? Like, is he?
He's an interesting one. He's a
Yeah,
restricted free agent though, and I don't know when that like expires. How long the Cavs have to like get him an offer. But
yeah.
he is a restricted free agent. He's interesting though. He's young. He's athletic.
Yeah, he's athletic. Yeah, he can
Getting
defend.
closer to a 3-and-D guy, right? He's shooting the 3 ball a little bit more. He's getting better at it. Um,
Yeah,
he could fit. If you're Cleveland, do you let him go? Like,
Yeah, because who all did they have? You know, they got Levert, Max. Um,
Let me get him
as far
pulled
as
up.
the wing goes, I know they got Money Bates. They drafted him last year. So I wouldn't necessarily just let him go for nothing. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, and maybe that is a situation with him being a restricted free agent that they can get like a sign and trade or something like that done.
Yeah, I figured that. Like if it's something, this is approaching like the third week of free agency or second week. Either way, like I feel like it's if you had a deal in place with him, he would have been back to Cavalier by now. So
Yeah, that's
yeah, that's
fair.
the way I've read it
Like if
too.
they
And
really
also,
wanted him back.
yeah, for sure. Like I gotta give the Wizards a lot of credit too, man. Like they went out there, they got Sadiq Bey, Valanciunas, they got Brogdon, um, like obviously
Yeah.
they drafted Sar. Um, so yeah, they got some cooking. You still got Kuz and Poole over there. So yeah,
Do you think the Wizards do they trade Kyle Kuzma?
I
Or do you
would
keep him and see what can happen this season? Like
if it's a pretty good deal, I would definitely trade him.
he's got
Yeah,
a
if it's a
lot of
good,
money on the books.
yeah, he does. I think he's making like what 20 mil a year, 22
Yeah,
million.
something
So
like that.
yeah, I would trade
Master
him if I could, if I were them.
Master at Ball says Gary Trent should come to Orlando. They should trade Gary Harris. That's not a bad idea to give him a little bit better of a contract. Maybe Toronto gets something in return for him, even
Yeah,
if they were able
sign
to
and
do that.
trade.
So
Yeah,
that's interesting. I do like the Orlando fit for Gary Trent Jr. as well. Anything to boost them up even more. Um, Luke Kennard, man, he shoots 45% from the 3-point line. Did you know that he shot 45% from the 3-point line last season? It's crazy to me. He averaged 11 points, 3.5 assists per game. But he's another guy that I feel like just fits wherever. If you need a guy to come
and
off
he's a
the bench,
shooter. Yeah,
yeah, get you three
he's a shooter.
three-pointers in a game.
I knew he shot like 40 some percent, but not 45.
That's crazy.
I've seen Luke play in person. Like man,
Yeah,
it's
you are
like
down there in Memphis. Yeah, he was there
yeah,
last season. Get him up close and personal.
he man, once he's on one, he's on one. But yeah, 45, man, that's pretty good. I'm pretty sure it's on like a fair amount of attempts a game. So I feel like contending teams like could go out there and get him because I don't know if his market just has value right now. So he may have to accept the vet minimum or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah, and I
yeah.
mean, I won't lie to you. There's part of me that would take Luke Kennard almost over Gary Trent Jr. I know it sounds crazy because Luke Kennard, I don't think, is the same defender that Gary
Not by
Trent
any
Jr. is.
means.
And that's his downside. But just that consistent 3-point shot, like 45% on 6 attempts last year from the 3-point
Yeah.
line. Yeah, I'll take that on my squad. But yeah, Gary Trent Jr. does do a little bit more than Luke Kennard all around, I would say.
Yeah.
Master at Ball says the Wizards should trade Kuzma and tank for Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag, man.
Cooper
I can't
Flag.
wait to watch this dude at Duke this upcoming college basketball season. He is something else. Watching him go
Yeah,
against the
man.
USA team the other like maybe 2 weeks ago or so,
Yeah. And this kid,
that
he's
was
just
crazy.
17 years old, man. Like
Yeah, nailing
just
3-pointers in
17.
Anthony Davis's face.
Yeah, finishing up with Drew Holiday. Like Drew Holiday is strong, man. Like
He is, yeah. It is. It's crazy to me, man. But let me throw a few more names at you before we get out of here tonight, my man. So I'm just gonna kind of go down a list, and I'm curious just on your thoughts on these players. Just like are they still NBA players? I'm gonna throw a name out there, Patrick Beverly,
your boy
because
Patrick Beverly.
he put out a tweet saying
I
that he
seen
has like
that.
this massive deal overseas he could go take, or he could take a vet minimum over here in the NBA. Pat Bev, do you think he's coming back to the NBA? Do you think he still has another season left in him?
I say no. I think he could go across seas. I
Go get
feel
his
like it's
bag.
yeah, I feel like it makes sense at this stage of his career. Like, with all due respect, I think like he could still guard to a certain extent, but he's still ain't the same Patrick Beverly of old time. So I
Yeah,
think at this stage of his career, it would be best to just go overseas, get your money, man.
get your bag. Yeah, no, I do feel that, bro. So Pat Bev, Jay Crowder, he's another older guy out there on the market still, and a well-known name, right?
Yeah, Jay Crowder. Well, essentially with him getting older, like when you say Jay Crowder name, you just think of like defense and 3-point shooting. Like
Right.
as I mentioned, him getting older, like his defense hasn't necessarily just been the same over the past couple of
Wasn't
seasons,
great for
but
Milwaukee. Yeah,
yeah, and his 3-point shooting been kind of iffy. But I would still say he is an NBA player for sure. I will
just to
say
that
that.
3 and D factor.
Yeah, just the presence, I feel like teams would still respect him, So yeah, to
Yeah,
some
Master
degree,
of all.
rather.
Says Jay can shoot and defense is crazy. Well, if that's the case, I didn't watch a bunch of him in Milwaukee last season. So if that's the case, then hey, he definitely will have a spot in the NBA if he can still shoot and play D. What about guys like Spencer Dinwiddie? Like where does his value? Is he still gonna get a spot in the NBA? It feels like everything is going south for him since leaving Brooklyn.
Yeah, I ain't, he had a pretty bad season with the Lakers, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's hard to say with him. I'm not gonna lie. Like I
He's
feel
a
like
wild card.
here's what I will say in that regard. If he gets in the league, I feel like John Wall should get in the league too. That's
All
just the
right,
way.
yeah, because that was gonna be my next guy I
That's
ask
the
you
way
about.
that if Spencer Dinwiddie gets in the league, John Wall should get in the league. Let's put it like that.
That's how I feel about a bunch of these guys, man. I won't lie to
Yeah.
you. Like
Like Dennis Smith Jr., like he should be in the league, man. Like, come on, man. Like,
Dennis Smith Jr. actually had a pretty good season
yes, he
last year
did.
too,
He
man.
did.
Like
And the
that's
season before that, like,
that's the crazy part. And all of these guys we're talking about are going to end up having to take veteran minimums if they're coming back to the league or play for the Detroit Pistons or something like that. But no, there's a bunch of guys like that.
yeah.
John Wall, Spencer Dinwiddie, Danny Green apparently wants to come back. Lonnie
Your boy
Walker is
campaign.
still out there. Campaign.
Yeah.
Terry Johnson.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Like, come on, man. Like, you an NBA
Why?
player. You an NBA player, bro. Why are you
Why,
pulling this
bruh?
off, bro? Like, come on, man.
That shit was crazy to me, bro. But you got him out there. You got Seth Curry's of the world out there.
Yeah, Seth. Is Joe
Devontae
Harris a free
Graham.
agent?
Who?
Joe Harris, he's a free agent.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I
Yeah,
think he got
okay.
like traded up to Detroit, and then that was
Yeah,
like the last
okay.
year of his contract.
Well, I know PJ Tucker opted in, so
Justin
yeah,
Holiday, Wesley
yeah.
Matthews
There's
getting
some
up
good
there.
guys out there, man.
Precious Achua, I think he's another probably the best big man left out there available. Um,
Yeah,
I would take a flyer on him, even as the Sixers. Like I said, we don't have a true power forward on the roster in a sense. I would I
yeah.
would take Precious Achua
I
in
think
that
he's a
in that role.
restricted free agent, so the Knicks can like match. So, but I don't
Yeah,
know like how much can they match because
it could
they're
end
in
up
a
being a sign and trade too, something
yeah
like
because
that.
they're in a tight spot financially. So
I saw on ESPN they were predicting that he should go to the Detroit Pistons. That's what they were saying.
they have a lot of
So
bigs over there, though, man. They just added
they
Paul
do.
Reed. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with you, but we'll see how it plays out. Oh, Gordon Hayward, that's the other guy I wanted to throw to you. He didn't get much of an opportunity
yeah.
in OKC, but did average close to 15 points per game for the Charlotte Hornets before he was traded to OKC. So
Yeah.
a little juice left in there, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like he still can provide. Like I don't see why he wouldn't get a contract unless he doesn't want it. But he can
Yeah,
still give you a solid 13 to
good
17 minutes a
playmaker.
night. Yeah, and
Yeah.
also like Victor Oladipo, he's still out there too. Like I feel
I
like
saw he's trying to make a return. Him and Isaiah Thomas. They're
yeah,
both
IT,
both of those
yeah,
guys trying to get back into the league. It's
yeah,
interesting, man, like how
it
fast
is.
certain players fall out of like the light in the NBA. It's like your career can be done like that. Like outside of like the all-stars, the superstars in the league, you just never know when your
Yeah,
time's
you
gonna
don't
be up
know.
and you can't find a contract. It's actually
Yeah,
crazy.
like injuries, bro. Like it could be the end of you. Like I think Lou Williams said it best. Like I think he said like one of his biggest motivations, like was to always get better in the offseason because it's 60 motherfuckers
Yeah.
coming in the draft every
Yeah.
year looking
Yeah.
to replace you. So I mean, if that isn't the biggest like motivation, I don't know what it is.
Nah, I feel that for real. So, like you said, there's a ton of talent coming in each year. We'll get to watch some more summer leagues, so maybe
Yes,
we'll talk
sir.
about that a little bit more in the future. We should be back later this week. We'll start getting into some of our player rankings from last season going into the new season. That should be fun. What position group? Let's discuss it here. What position group should we start with? Point guards, shooting
Yeah,
guards, power forwards. What you thinking?
let's start. Let's start at the head of the table, man. The PGs, man.
Yeah, I know why you want to do that. I know who you got at the top of your list. So,
Yeah, it's
no,
only
that would be
right.
fun. So later this week, we'll be back with our top 10 point guards in the NBA. We'll see what differences we have on each of our lists. But guys, be sure to subscribe to the NBA To The Galaxy Pod. You can find it on YouTube, To The Galaxy Pod. Be sure to subscribe, like the videos to help us grow here. We will be
Yes,
getting
sir.
back set up on Twitter, get back on X with the upgrade to premium. They had
Yeah,
to do us dirty on this fine morning,
it's
this
wild,
fine
bro.
Monday morning. But we're gonna get that straightened out, and make sure you give us a follow over there as well at To The Galaxy Pod, at RTR30111 for my man Slim Shady right there, and at Scotty Drown for myself. Yeah, we're gonna hammer that in.
Yeah,
We
same
have a
shit.
different name for Slim every show, so it gets
Yeah,
fun on here. But
yeah.
that's going to be it for this episode of NBA To The Galaxy Pod. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for the comments, and we will see you next time.
We
Peace.
out. Peace.